Hey, what's up guys? Mr. Roark here again. We're going to go and start Unit 2. This is for the 7th graders. We spent that first unit looking at how to find the surface area of squares, rectangles, and parallelograms. It's going to get just a little bit harder, but a lot of this stuff is going to be reviewed that you guys knew from last year. And we're going to incorporate semicircles and quarter circles into this one. But I'm going to go ahead and start off first with how to find the surface area of triangles. Okay? To do the surface area of a triangle, I'm actually going to draw two different kinds of triangles and then afterwards explain to you guys why we find half of it or divide it by 2, depending on which one you prefer to do whenever we're finding the answer for the surface area of these shapes. Okay? So to start off, I'm going to go ahead and draw a right triangle, and I'm also going to draw an isosceles triangle. So there's my right, and here's my isosceles triangle. Alright? Now, with both of these triangles, we're going to use the same formula. There's my right angle. Our formula we're going to use for the surface area is going to be A equals 1/2 times base times height. Okay? Now, in the example that you guys have here in your foldout, we're going to go ahead and take a look at this, and we're going to use the same measurements on both of them. We're showing here that you have 5 high, 5 inches by 6 inches, and I'm going to go do the same over here. I know that it looks a lot taller, and it is, but for the sake of using the same two measurements, we're going to go ahead and call this one down here 5 inches. We're going to call this one here 6 inches. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys that we're going to use the same kind of method to solve this for both of them and why it works the way it does. Okay, so first off, the 1/2, that's not going to change. We're going to find half of our answer in just a minute, or if you guys want to divide it by 2, you guys can do that as well. Okay, so first thing we got to recognize is the base. Okay, so if I'm using this right triangle here as my triangle that I'm solving for, I know that my surface area, we're going to have that 1/2 in a minute, times base, which in this case is the bottom, 6 times my height. In this case, it's going to be 5. Okay? Now, same thing over here. My formula here is still going to be the same, A equals 1/2 times the base, which in this case is going to be the 5, because it's, again, B is base, or you can think of it as bottom, times 5 times my height, which in this case is going to be 6. Now, what's interesting is here we have 6 times 5, here we have 5 times 6. Just like if I ask you guys, what is 3 times 2, you're going to tell me it's 6. If I ask you what is 2 times 3, you're going to tell me 6 too. So the answer for this one and this one are going to be the same, 6 times 5 or 5 times 6, however you look at it, is going to give us an answer of 30. Okay, so 30 for there and 30 for there. Okay, now, here's the last part. We have to figure out what is half of 30. Okay, some of you guys are already doing mental math and can figure it out. For those of you who don't like to multiply by 1/2, you can also do divide by 2. Okay, it's going to give you the same answer in the end. So, if you decide you're going to multiply this by 1/2, you're going to get an answer. Half of 30 we know is going to be 15. Okay, so 15. Since we're dealing with inches, it's going to be inches squared. Over here, if we divide 2 into 30, it's going to also give us an answer of 15. Okay? So again, 15 inches squared is going to be my answer for this one. So notice these both give us the same answer. The reason we divide this by 2, or we cut it in half, like we did a minute ago, is simply this. If I make another triangle just like this one, to put on top of this current triangle, what I'm left with is a rectangle. If you guys think back to the first unit, when we find the surface area for a rectangle, it's just base times height. But since, in this case, I don't have a full rectangle, I only have half of a rectangle, we've got to take that base times height and divide it by 2 or cut it in half. Same thing can be said for this over here. Okay? If I make another rectangle out of this, what I'm left with is 2 small triangles, which if I put them together, I'm going to get a triangle that looks just like this one. Okay? And again, what I have right now is a rectangle, base times height, but because in this case I don't have a rectangle, rather I've got half of a rectangle, I've got to cut it in half or divide it by 2. If you guys have any questions, you guys know you can always come find me in room 12. If I'm not here today, or if you're not here today, you guys can always watch this video once you scan the QR code. Thanks, guys.